Okay. This meeting is called to order. Can you please rise to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. The meeting of October 9th, 2023 was included in the list of meetings notice sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News on January 5, 2023, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public. It is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilman Johnson is not here. Councilman Parker.
Here.
Councilwoman Rossetti. Here. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Here.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Here.
Council President Long.
Here.
And Mayor Carroll.
Here.
And we have four.
Thank you. Change pages there. We have a brief presentation from Ken Baranga from the Black River Railroad System discussing a road and rail realignment grant that he would like the council's blessing on. You want to come up front, Kane, and
Sure. Well, I'd like to thank everybody, thank the mayor for inviting me, and
it's too complicated to talk to for me to explain this to them.
okay. So I don't know how the best way to do this is, but I'm going to leave this with you to look at.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it. Shrink it down.
So basically, the that's happened.
Sorry.
The
Here, put it on that.
As long as you're okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah, there you go.
The germ of this germination of this project started a little over a year ago when George Malone started to circulate his plans for the Liberty Village property. And so I met George a number of times. I respect him as a business person. And I've been pretty straight with him that his project is terrible for the railroad because it's very hard to run a railroad through a residential complex to start with, but then to try to have a tourist railroad with steam locomotives start in the middle of that is almost unworkable. So he and I talked about different ways that we could coexist while the residential complex is terrible for the railroad. So is an empty shopping center, and so is an environmental cleanup property, right? So I'm trying to figure out how we can move forward with them. So one of the things, I had a conversation last summer with Paul Marciano, who is a neighbor of mine in Three Bridges and was leading up the Flemington Community Partnership. And we had a meeting right after the economic breakfast last year with George and Dave Johnson from the Flemington Community Partnership and Robin, Mark Salek from Hunterdon County Economic Development. And we decided that what we first, and what the kind of premise was I saw an opportunity for the railroad to move from the Stangle property or the Stangle station that we're in now in the Liberty Village parking lot up more to the north in the Turntable Junction area to help be a catalyst for taking the Stangle kind of vibrancy that we see starting there and helping to attract that toward Main Street. And of course, Robin has been a proponent of a rail trail from Church Street through Turntable Junction to kind of connect that Stangle area to Main Street. And so a train platform that's set up for people to get on the train. When the train's not there, comes kind of a multi-purpose path to join these areas. And so we had, right after that meeting, we decided the first thing we had to do was really get what were historically different right-of-way maps I had brought up to current. So this is a survey that David Newton put together of our railroad properties from Main Street to Church Street. David's father worked for the CNJ and worked in that freight station there on Bulwer Road, and he has a passion for the railroad, so he does just awesome right-of-way maps for me. just their pieces of their works of art. So enjoy this. I hope we have a chance to look at. So some of the elements that we talked about were putting a train platform up in the Turntable Junction area. Now, Turntable Junction, as all of you know, has as many problems right now as does our current location.
No, it only has one problem, which is the owner.
Well, those are things that we've kind of got to think past, right? We talk about thinking past that. So it was just shortly after the new year, and Tony and Marcia came over to some community partnerships, so they had seen kind of a rough idea of work, and the elements were that we would take and put a platform in the vicinity of the Turntable Junction, which would serve as also as a multi-purpose path, and that we would perhaps have a place to put the Lehigh Valley Freight Station from Park Avenue, which I know is something of a struggle, right? So this actually, Marcia, this version shows that on here as a proposed place there.
Good.
And
I'm waiting with the architect.
awesome. So, and the other thing that the other thing we did here was, if we pull our train up in the Turntable Junction, while the train is there, it would block Central Avenue. So one of the things that we discussed would be to combine the current Church Street crossing, which is now blocked off right now because it's George's private road there, and the Central Avenue crossing into a single crossing at the foot of Church Street. So if you come down Church Street, then bending around to the left, follow the railroad, you would go across the railroad tracks and connect over to Stangle Road. If we take the Central Avenue and make that pedestrian only walkway, so that you came down Central and you were forced then to turn left onto Fulper, and the mayor suggested maybe that Church Street would be one way towards Stangle, so you had kind of a block that went around in a clockwise manner there.
It's a thought, but we need a traffic engineer.
Yeah. But what ends up happening is about half of the required gap in that Church Street Central Ave or to Stangle Road is in our right of way. And if we take and we combine two crossings into one, there's federal dollars. First of all, the state will pay for that new crossing in that portion of the road, and there's federal dollars available to the borough to make other improvements, and would presumably be enough to make the rest of that gap out to Stangle Road. So these are all shown on here as kind of a proposal, and that's not really where we're at right now. I drew the roads. I'm not a traffic engineer. The pathway is kind of a proposal. There's a lot of details in moving to the Valley Station, but precedent to doing any of these kinds of things, we kind of need to fix up our railroad from Church Street to Main Street. And so I think even back in January, I said that I was going to apply for the Rail Freight Assistance Program for this. We bumped another project off, try to get this one to the forefront because it seems like this is precedent for these projects. And so the Rail Freight Assistance Program in New Jersey is $25 million that's paid for out of the trust fund. It goes to short line railroads primarily, but anywhere in New Jersey can apply for it. And it's for capital improvements. And it's to help to keep the networks of railroads that go out to the rural areas as part of the national network. So the program is very supportive of our railroads. I think the first grant we got into the program was in 1989. And the most recent one is a $11 million project that we're doing in Monmouth County right now between Farmingdale and Freehold, which we just are finishing up. We've done projects on the Belvedere line in Washington, the Dover in Delaware, and we've done many projects on the Black River and Western, primarily to improve the infrastructure that hasn't seen any real capital improvements since the 1920s to handle the heavier rail cars that we have. So the railroad from Lambertville to Flemington came in 1854. That was Black River, the original Black River and Western, and then it was, it came from the Pennsylvania Railroad System in 1871. We bought it in 1970. And then the Central Railroad of New Jersey comes from Somerville to Flemington. That came in 1864. And they met in kind of an awkward way, right, at foot of Church Street. So when we bought the Central Railroad of New Jersey, I'll start here, we pass them down. We bought the Central Railroad of New Jersey in 1976 when Conrail was formed. And what happens here is that because of the way the junction is laid out, our main track kind of goes around through the reverse sides of the turnouts in kind of an awkward alignment.
Where, this is in the borough?
That's right, that's taken from Church Street.
Wow, it doesn't look that jacked up when you.
No,
No, I mean, really, I was like, is this the one that's behind the?
So that's, I mean, that's where the tracks.
Yeah,
Right?
this one's familiar to me.
Here's some more tracks through the turntable. This is what it looked like in 1950 when those trains, steam trains were still running to Jersey
Wow.
City. This shows you what, that's a picture that was taken in East Amwell Township Rail Southern Rangos, that was last year's rail assistance program that we did. And these are environmentally friendly steel ties we've been using, and these are ties that look like wood ties, but those are made out of recycled plastic.
That's cool, and this is the new project to the railroad.
That's what, that's between Ringos and Sun.
But that, when you first started this, was the intention to go to?
Right, but the hurricane knocked out a couple
We have
of.
to
Right,
have challenges.
I know.
I just wanted to make sure
I
that that's the
think
project that I thought I had.
Yes.
This is
Okay.
And
plastic.
that's, those are, the steel in the foreground and plastic. in
Yeah,
the
you
background.
can see what it changes.
Yeah.
Those are plastic. And that's the marker that you can see if you go to the
Ken,
bird.
one key point from the council.
So,
Turntable.
That's from.
This is turntable.
yeah, that's from, if you stood on the turntable right today, or you look towards you, this is the.
Oh, there's the raised, okay.
There's the bank,
Yeah.
and there's the.
Tell us what you need.
So,
helping us.
And on the application has been electronically submitted. I still have the ability to add some letters of support and whatnot. And because there's a public benefit in this, letters of support from the public and the community are especially helpful in getting those projects higher priority. While there's $25 million and there's only 20 railroads, there's some other people who get their money into their hands in the pot, surprise, New Jersey, right? And so it is, it would be helpful, it's always helpful to have local support for a project. And since this, I'm pretty sure that if I don't get it this year, I would get the money next year, at least a year after. But because it's kind of timely, I thought that if I could get a letter of support from the community, we can get this done so that we can look at some of these projects.
What this would do for the borough is give us a new road that connects over to Central from Church.
So the project that I'm applying for is only for the railroad infrastructure.
Okay,
Right? But that's precedent for us, because that'll prepare the tracks for the platform, the walkway, the station, and the consolidation of the road crossings, which actually goes to a different department.
would it clean up the area where you were suggesting we move the depot to?
It'll clean up the whole area
Which is
from
over-
Church Street to Main Street. And also we're gonna do as part of the project from Broad Street down to the ball field crossing, which sets us up to redo the Broad Street crossing. And it also sets us up for working with the state to replace the 31 bridge. It'll set us up for that as well.
For future applications for future grants.
Well, they're gonna do that anyway. That's their own, the
The
31
31.
project, as you know, that's a DOT project that has its own.
I meant
phase.
the one, I meant the Broad Street one.
Yeah, so the railroad crossings are actually, come from a different department of DOT that I'm applying for this grant for. This grant is, for rail infrastructure improvements. There's a Bureau of Utility and Railroad Safety Engineering is the one that administers the railroad grade crossings all over the state. We have one of the best programs in the United States for railroad crossing improvements. There's, I think, 20 or $30 million of state money goes into that program, and then probably 3 times that from the federal highway. And so they keep a list of all the railroad crossings that are anywhere in the state, and they rank them, and the worst ones get done in kind of that order. So I'm pretty happy that right now I don't have any of the worst crossings on any of the railroads that we've been doing crossings continuously for the last 20 years. We just started operating 50 miles of railroad in Monmouth Ocean Lake, Monmouth Ocean in Middlesex County. And there's 65 crossings there, of which there are 20 that need to be rehabbed 15 years ago. So they're kind of top of the list. But that department is already looking at this project, and they are working on trying to find out what federal monies would be available to consolidate the crossings. And when that gets a little bit further down the road, of course, I'll come back and talk about that again. But this is kind of like almost like a master plan, right? So what I can see can be railroad and community projects and improvements going forward.
Well, I think, I mean, Ken, you've been an amazing partner in Flemington, and people love trains. I mean, our rail history in Flemington is really rich, and I know Robin's got a lot of plans to capitalize on that, and people love trains. They love trains. So, does anybody, Councilwoman Rossetti, do you have any questions for Mr. Baranga for Kane?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay, I know Mr. Johnson just got on. Council Vice President, Council
No.
President,
I'm good.
No, no,
Councilman
it's clear.
Parker.
No, I was there.
Yeah, I know, that's right. You were there. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yeah, I do. I would really, you talked my language, my love language when you said master plan. Being on the planning board, most of which you discussed is in our master plan already, including the connection and expansion of Church Street. So I'm thrilled to see you here. I would love it if you would consider coming to the planning board to do a similar presentation, if that's okay. I'll ask the chair to schedule something with you at your convenience, because I think it's important that they keep that in mind for whenever the master plan is reviewed. So number one, thank you for that. And number two, I'd like to discuss when you do come to the planning board, how this plan kind of affects our overall master plan, because I think you'll find that our master plan, or at least things that we've discussed in the past, it all definitely relates. I had done some research last year around this time, or a little earlier in the year, on a grant that incorporated the history of railroad into our Parks and Rec portion of our master plan, hoping that eventually there would be an east-west kind of pedestrian path through town. And this was part of that bigger picture.
Sure.
This was only one part of that bigger picture. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about that further.
Be glad to. And of course, the picture that shows the turntable is still there. The county has expressed interest in supporting that historical aspect of either the Lehigh Valley Station or the turntable or both.
Is the turntable really still there?
We don't know.
Okay.
There is not any question that where the turntable
That
is,
exists, but
is
is-
where it is.
But is the turntable?
Is it under there?
Yeah.
I can't tell you that. And I have asked everybody people who were alive then, people who might have remembered it.
I remember standing on it and hanging out with my friends on it.
But nobody can remember whether they just filled it in with rubble
Correct.
or whether, without doing some archaeological digging there,
Right.
it's unknown.
Okay, so can I get,
One more question. Was this set of drawings distributed electronically? Because I cannot
No, it
find
was
it.
not.
Okay,
No, I made copies.
okay, I did, is it in my mailbox? I didn't.
No,
No, you
No,
got it tonight,
it's in-
yes.
Yeah,
It wasn't, it's
no,
not
it's
in my,
loose. It's loose.
I don't have it here.
If
so-
you send me an email,
I'm
I
gonna
can
trade.
send this to
You didn't
you
get this? You
digitally.
didn't get your
No.
No, I don't have it. All I have is the bill.
she only had a couple copies.
Oh, here, give her one.
That's fine. That's, you can give it to me later. I just
No,
wanted
take
to-
mine.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss it.
I'm gonna leave this with you and you can take it, and I'll
This
just
is
send it
fine,
to you
thank you.
digital.
Well, I could just forward your
It's
email
fine.
to her.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion, the council and mayor to support this by letter for authorizing me to sign a letter in support?
And go ahead, we'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Um, welcome very much. Thank you for coming.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
remember the last.
Hey, if you need anything else, please reach out to us.
Okay,
We'll help you.
You're a great partner. Tim.
Along the way.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Okay, under mayor, where I got a couple of little, I got one little item and then we have a big discussion. I moved it to my report instead of a work session because it is a state holiday and both our CFO and our DPW superintendent agreed to call in tonight, participate. But before we do that, I just want to make a formal appointment to the alternate 3 planning board seat, appointing Rose DeMarco for that seat, effective immediately as soon as she gets sworn in. Okay, so recently we got a letter from the DOT, or an email, I should say, an email letter, stating that we had not responded to yet another grant that we received. This one for William Street for $162,360. That I'm not sure if any of you were aware was applied for. There was no bonding done for it. The award came in and CME was directed by the former mayor to do a design. This is William Street from Broad to Elwood. This did not make the list of the DPW prioritization. So I just want all of you to know that when I looked at that prioritization list that Council Vice President Tilly and DPW Superintendent Champion and Ken Deal and Josh Parks and we all worked so hard on didn't make the list. So, but this is another one that if we don't take the money, we're gonna get penalized in the future. So there is no bond ordinance in place. Remington Vernick has put together a quick request for a 6-month extension to buy us time. Mike is on the phone. So just so you know, excuse me, the award is for paving, replacing the concrete sidewalks, just what's there, not adding anything to it, and the drainage work from Broad to Elwood, that little piece of William. And there is a manhole there that the DPW will replace and they'll do the work themselves. There's a sewer main on the north side of William, which is okay. There's a water main, which is okay. But it's really about the storm sewer. So I asked Remington Vernick to take CME's engineering report on this and break it out into 2023 prices. And basically the paving concrete work is now just a little under 250,000. If we do the drainage work, that's an additional 90,000. And if water has to be done, that's an additional 202,000.
I thought they said water was okay.
But he did this quick and dirty on Thursday, so, that I don't think he had a conversation with Josh. So Mike is on, right? Mike
Yes.
was on, I don't see Bill up there.
Is Bill guess? I don't know who that
I don't
is.
think so, but guess, they should raise their hand. Maybe it is Bill.
Let's find out who guest is.
Now you have to click on them.
The three dots.
Did I promote him?
Yeah, well, that's who he is, yeah.
That's the only way we can hear who it is.
Is he promoted in?
Yeah, it takes a
They
minute.
have to accept it.
Okay. Hello, guest, who are you?
Yeah, it's me. Hello.
Fine. Thank you for, Bill and Mike, thank you so much for,
Do you want me to make Mike a panelist?
absolutely. Thank you so much for participating tonight on a state holiday. Really appreciate it. So, Mike, you wanna talk to the council about, about what work, like I said, according to Remington Vernick, the paving concrete is just a little below 250. And the drainage, that's the stuff that you said, in your note to me, is what's really important is that storm sewer work. It's 90,000, so we're now at 340, and we're getting a grant of just a little over 162. So we're short. And so the first question is, what is it? Should we really be doing it now? And then to Bill Hans, where would you find this money for us? I mean, the bonding, we're gonna get reimbursed 162, we still have to bond for it. And then there's a balance of like $80,000. So go ahead, Mike, talk to us, please. You have to take yourself off of, mute.
Can you hear me?
And
Yes, like the mayor stated, the majority of the work is the storm because that road is so flat, there's bad drainage there. Now with the bad drainage, during plowing, salting, use of the road, the surface was bad. Every couple of years, we dump about 11 ton of blacktop on it, back grade it with our machine and take care of the potholes that way. The water line runs from Broad Street towards the south side of Williams, cuts over into the sidewalk area, heading towards Elwood. The sewer main on William Street only takes 3 houses. And we'll call it a sewer main, but it's more like an oversized lateral. And that's the only 3 homes that are on that sewer main. So there really is no sewer main that runs up and down that street. The manhole the mayor spoke about is in Broad Street, which Public Works can do to offset some of the costs. So that's why the price of the job came out to that from RBE.
did they know that you could do the manhole? I mean, is that part of their price? It's built in here and you could remove it?
No, we're gonna do that in-house, Mayor. That is on the plans. It states it right on there.
Okay, so they didn't put that in here into their price?
I don't know, Mayor.
We really need to know whether there's a credit. Well, we have the DPW meeting tomorrow, so we can clarify that.
Yeah, so there's reset manhole casting using new casting and cover, doghouse manhole 4-inch square, storm sewer. They did price this out. If it's, I just don't know. This is alternate A, drainage improvements. They did price it out. And it's, I don't know what RCP class 5 is, but that's the 90,000. So when we look at this tomorrow, Mike, maybe maybe it is 250. And it's still we're still 190,000 short. So I don't know what to do because this is the second project we're getting ourselves stuck in that, we've got by threat of DOT penalizing us if we don't take the money. And like I said, this wasn't even on your priorities list.
No, it wasn't.
Use Martucci Engineering to save on some engineering costs.
Well, see how he did the drawing, and no, we can't unless you authorize him for a special project, and that's,
I thought we did that already though.
not for this, there have to be specific special projects. So
I'd
the
like to
design
see-
is done, it really would come down to the inspection work, I guess.
I think the Martucci is a good idea. I just would like to see what our balance is with him right now as far as our credit goes.
Well, remember, he's got the Main Street project too, and that is a monster of a
I
project.
realize that that's why I was asking for the credit. to
Right,
see
well,
what the
he
credit-
hasn't started that. I mean, he's doing the sewer design on that right now.
Mhm.
And, so he's gonna be doing that. He's also got Bloomfield Avenue, which is coming back from bid on October 26th. So, but Main Street is a monster, and I don't think we're gonna end up with much of a credit, you know, when, all is said and done. So,
100 hours is a lot of hours. I just want to, make sure we get a check. And so, some sooner.
no, I know. I just am reluctant to give him another special project when he's got that beast and he's got Bloomfield Avenue and, we didn't appoint him as our engineer, this year, not because I wasn't willing to, but because I had a council that was reluctant to, so, I think we should stick with Remington Vernick on this, because I think Rob's gonna be really busy with Main Street. That's gotta get done, and that one's got that June 24th looming deadline over our heads, as will this one, so, Bill, talk about money.
Yeah, well, as you said, we don't have an ordinance existing, so are you looking to get the money in place this year, or would you think about putting it in the temporary budget next year?
We can do that, because Remington Vernick's gotten us, I think they're getting us that 6-month extension, so we can wait until next year, or we could do it in the temporary budget next year.
Yeah, if you're looking to not borrow it, that might be a good option, put it in the temporary budget. And we wouldn't have to wait, the 20 days afterwards. You could basically go out to bid in February probably if you wanted to, and start with.
I think that's a really good solution. So that we don't get penalized, and, so we can talk, do you have this, document from Remington Vernick that they just sent out?
Yes.
You, Bill, you have the money, so we can figure out whether or not we can back out. I mean, I think that 90,000, that additional 90,000 is, I think it's gonna be about 250. I think that's what they're estimating. Is that 250? So we'd end up, Bill, that's about 90,000 out of, but that we have to put in the temporary budget, plus this, I mean, all the money, but then we get reimbursed on it.
Right.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council?
Can we just have a summary of the monies? We're gonna, assuming that it's 250,000 plus 90,000. In that amount includes we think includes the DPW replacing the manhole, so there's a little bit of a credit there.
It might be the 90,000.
Right,
It's
it's not
that whole amount, Councilwoman, so
perfect.
it might be 250.
Okay, the grant is for 162, so the balance is
Correct.
what we would be, in addition to bonding for the,
Well, we're not gonna, we wouldn't bond, we put it in the temporary budget,
Correct.
we'd
for
spend
the,
it.
for the 80,000, I'm
All of
talking
it.
about the,
For all of it, we'd spend it as cash, and then we would get back the 162 from the state upon, producing receipts, when the job's complete.
yeah, I'm sorry, let me make this clear. So we bond the 162, but we get
No.
it back from the grant
We're
and then we
not,
bond
we're
the.
not bonding at all.
You don't, even when you're getting a grant, you don't, what do you do when you're getting a grant, where does that money
Well, if
temporarily live?
we were gonna do that right now, we'd have to bond, but because we're in a budget year. But if we wait until next year, Bill can put it into the temporary budget,
All of it.
all of it, all 250,000.
That's what I wanted to understand. Thank you.
Yes. So we'll spend it as cash, and then we'll get back 162 with receipts.
And we aren't gonna need any of that money before the end of the year to do any design work.
CME did the design already, and it was paid for in 2022.
Great, okay. So any of the soft costs, it's pretty much done already.
Pretty much, yeah, I think, Remington Vernick did a just a cursory review of their drawing when they, because they had to do the estimate.
Okay,
And they did the estimate, so whatever that came out to.
okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? Have any questions? Okay. Mike, anything you want to add? We'll talk tomorrow morning at the DPW.
Yeah, I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Everybody else is good? So, this is on the agenda to apply for the extension. So I guess we'll be doing that. And, Mike, thanks for calling in tonight.
You're
Phil,
welcome.
you're hanging out or not, but thank you for calling in tonight as well. And we'll see you tomorrow. And that's, that was my painful report. It was so painful. I hate this out of budget stuff. All right, council people's reports, council president.
Sure. Good evening, folks. I don't have a police report this evening. And the Raritan Township Municipal offices were closed today, so I don't have a court report tonight. But I do have some thoughts on a few things. And I wanted to take a few minutes to share those thoughts of mine. So I want to apologize for not throwing this notion out there earlier to everyone, but it has been something that's been kind of rolling around in my mind since the weekend. And it pretty much all came together today for me. So forgive me if it doesn't make sense right away, but I've got some loose notes here. And like I said, it's been something that's just come to me rather recently. So in general, I want to talk about something very important to Flemington and pretty much any town in the United States, and that is civic pride. Unfortunately, I do think there is a deficit here. It's not shared by everybody in equal measure when it is here, and I think that's unfortunate. But we are not beyond building it up. And I've always personally felt that, you know, civic engagement is key, but you can't have that unless you have a shared sense of pride. And if we build it up enough, this place will really stand out for all the best reasons. So I'd like to kind of lay out some sort of little metaphorical path so I can guide you through what I'm thinking about. So just kind of go with me on this metaphor, sort of a stone path, if you will. And the first stepping stone that I wanted to reveal here for me is that I was kind of driving down Main Street. It was like Friday or Saturday morning. And I took a look at the Union Hotel on one side and noticed, you know, there's all this steel going on. So there's some progress coming along. And then I looked over at the historic courthouse and couldn't help but say to myself, all right, that's looking better because it wasn't looking so nice a while ago. And you can literally see the relationship between our town and our county when you look at these two buildings. And symbolically, it's very fascinating to me. So to see two old buildings being rehabilitated and refurbished. And one day, both these projects will be done and they will look really nice together. We will walk by at some point and these two landmarks will elicit a sense of pride. And this pride will be shared by all of our residents. But this is not the only thing that will bring a sense of civic pride to our town. So let's take another step forward, stepping stone 2. We have projects in the works that will bring more people into Flemington, and it will even allow people to move within Flemington Borough. These projects will bring more productivity, activity, volunteers, future committee members, and elected leaders, perhaps even some small business owners. It will certainly bring clientele for current and future businesses. Towns and cities are shared spaces by people, and people like to make connections. We like to talk, we like to meet each other. This proximity and density come together to create all sorts of great opportunities, especially in a diverse little town such as ours. Civic pride comes from these social interactions and the results of them. And that's a truth. It's a simple truth. But that isn't the end of the civic pride journey for us. It's not at all close to the end. The third step, let's take a step forward. I was reminded earlier this week of the fact that, you know, the mayor here brought to our council's attention that we might want to keep retail along Main Street on the first floor. And once first floor offices cease to exist and end their time here, they're going to become stores and restaurants, boutiques, craft stores. I guess wouldn't a butcher or cheese shop be nice around here? That ordinance will bring whatever else happens to spring up in a very organic sense, which is pretty much, in my opinion, the best things that pop up. So this was an idea that became so clear this past weekend. We were at a grand opening for a new small business in town. My French is awful, but it's called Le Petit Roule. I tried. Mayor Karen and I were talking about how at some point, you know, as we were looking at Main Street, many of the businesses that have been here for a long time will be gone. And the question is, what's going to replace them? If you feel the way that I do, and I'm sure we all feel this way, you know, small businesses are really the backbone of a small town, and they truly deserve to thrive. So this brings me to the last stone on the path. And this stone is right before a big wide open space. And I think Flemington's been used to unknown stuff and change and where are we going? And I think we're in the transition moments in life are odd and strange sometimes and difficult, but I think we're in one. And I realized this morning, it's been a while since I've heard anything, and if anybody can say otherwise, maybe I missed something, but I haven't heard much about our distinction as an opportunity zone. In fact, we're the only opportunity zone in Hunter County. So just to remind everybody, opportunity zones were created to counter the Great Recession in low-income towns and cities. And remember, Flemington Borough is considered low income, but we're low income according to the U.S. News and World Report from 2022, the 14th richest county in the United States. So the lowest income in the 14th richest county in the United States. Think about that. We got an opportunity zone distinction. Keep that in mind. So this was a bipartisan effort supported by Senators Cory Booker and Tim Scott. This initiative was created during the Obama administration and passed during the Trump administration. So, and as I want to just push forth here, this idea is that great ideas tend to transcend politics. So here's what I was thinking. Since we are in an opportunity zone, we should probably start leveraging this to bring more to the borough. And by more, I mean things that we need, things that people tell me time and time again that we need. Why don't we have a community theater? Well, you know, we have a property for sale. Wouldn't Red Vanilla be a wonderful art house theater, right? I mean, I can't be the only one who's saying what if, right? So, and you got plenty of parking out back, so I'm just saying. Why don't we have a community pool? I mean, we know the situation. We know, you know, it was supposed to be the YMCA, then the pandemic, you know, blew those plans away. Now we're still waiting. What's going to happen? Why don't we have these awesome, super fun things to do for all ages? And the answer is simple. These things are too expensive. And the people who'd love to make them a reality, the people who would rightfully bring some great stuff to this town, simply not have the resources to do this. But the opportunity zone would make properties viable once again that aren't currently viable. Look at all the properties that have for sale in town. How do we get these filled? Some of these properties are just waiting. They're waiting for, I mentioned the Courthouse Square property. They're waiting for that to be developed. They're just sitting. How do we propel landlords to, you know, sell their properties or to fix them up for people who want to jump in? But as I said before, you know, the path forward, there are steps, but there's a big unknown, right? So we want to do this. We want to do this right. So I'm suggesting, I'm not going to propose anything tonight. I want us to talk about this, all right? Because I didn't have anything prepared because, like I said, this has all been coming together to a point tonight. And I apologize if I'm a little clunky at points, but I know that the FCP, Flemington Community Partnership, is very busy with a lot of stuff. But I want to propose and ask maybe perhaps, you know, through the trustee, through the director of the FCP, if we can create some sort of committee that includes a council member, a couple members of the planning board, some business owners, you know, to put a committee together to promote Flemington so that we can bring these things here through the opportunity grant mechanism. And ultimately, to me, as I began, it's about pride. It's about civic pride. You know, I think when we look at things in town, you know, when Guitar Boy first went up, I was like, that's really cool. I like it. It's exciting. It's colorful. It brings some livelihood, but it's starting to deteriorate. And we know what happens when things deteriorate. It's kind of like that, the parable, what is it? The frog in the boiling water. you're sort of not noticing it until it happens. You're like, whoa. And we've made strides in this town. Past and present leaders have done their work to make this town flourish. But I think we need to seize on this now. We're in a transitional moment. Let's have this conversation, because if I'm understanding Opportunity Zone correctly, it will sunset in 2026. I say we take advantage now. While we wait and see what our town is going to look like, we got to get moving on what it can look like in the future. So we don't want to forget one other thing is we're the seat of Hunterdon. We should be the crown jewel of Hunterdon County. And the way to this shiny goodness, as I'm going to call it, maybe through leveraging our status as an opportunity zone. So I welcome any conversation, not necessarily tonight, but any feedback, any ideas you have, and maybe put this forth as a committee, and with the help of the SCP, we can get this going. So just some thoughts. That's my report. Thank you.
Council President. I think shiny goodness sounds like a good candy store on Main Street, but go with the cheese shop and the butcher. Thank you so much. Council Vice President Zoe.
All right, so I want to thank everyone for attending the rescheduled Firefighter Fall Festival. I'm not so sure that the weather was any better on Sunday than it would have been on Saturday, but since none of us are the weathermen or Mother Nature, it is what it is. The fire department is still selling raffle tickets. If anybody would like to purchase a ticket, please contact any member of the fire department or myself. And I know the fire department will be selling tickets on Saturday mornings at the Stengel Market, because I have been there for the last 4 Saturdays selling raffle. I'm working under Central this weekend, so somebody else will be there. Where am I? All right, the Flemington Raritan First Aid and Rescue Squad is holding their annual rescue truck pull on Saturday, November 11th, from 9 to 12 at Health Fest. If you would like more information, please see www.truckpull.info. That takes you to a link right on their webpage. We do have a DPW meeting tomorrow. I do know that the concrete work from the Elizabethtown Gas Project began today because they fixed all the holes on Vinall Street. Milling, then paving from the same project is due to start next week. The Halloween Candy Assistance Program that I manage is in full swing. Please see the borough's website and click on the See All News tab. That's where you'll find the link to the spreadsheet to sign up. And if you are donating candy, if you drop a bag of candy off here at Borough Hall, please make sure you let somebody know who you are. So this way I can give you your proper due thanks for that. Trick-or-treating will be on Tuesday, which is Halloween, as it is every year on Halloween. It doesn't matter whether it falls during the week, it's still on Halloween. And it will be from 4 to 8.
What is it?
It's on Halloween.
Don't come to our house before then.
Yeah, please. And yeah, don't come to me on the weekend because you're not getting anything. As in years past, Vinall Street and Broad Streets will be closed. And that again is from 4 to 8. I know it seems a little early, but some of us have to get up very early in the morning. And because it is on a Tuesday,
Little one.
I'd like to stop knocking on my door before 11 would be nice. And that's really kind of all I have.
So that she starts at 4?
I thought it started at 3 for the little ones. Okay. But it's on October 31st.
October 3rd,
But
Tuesday,
but
October
the
31st.
parade is the 26th.
Correct.
Do not get confused.
Right,
Okay.
don't come trick or treating after the parade, because you're getting nothing.
And the yard sale is October 28th
And the yard sales October 28th.
and 29th.
Councilwoman
Right,
Rosetti, do you have a report?
Halloween.
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Very much, Councilman Parker.
Yeah, I have several things, and I'd like to put this in Jeremy, actually, this is pretty good news. But one correction I do have to say, so Flemington was taken off the hub zone this year. I don't know if you're aware of that. So the hub zone usually determines, in terms of funding in the whole bit, that it's a disadvantaged zone. But the federal government is taken off this year. So just so that you know that.
So the good
So
news
I
is we're
don't-
not disadvantaged anymore.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
Double.
So, but that typically happens when there's redevelopment going on in the town. So there's several towns in New Jersey which used to be under the HUD zone that are no longer. Under the HUD. It expired in 2022. No, it actually expired June of 2020. That's when it expired. I just happen to know that for a small business. Anyway, so several things going on here. So I'm actually working with the business that is here in Flemington to retain them in Flemington. They're having some issues with their landlord, so I'm trying to work with the business to get them to have them stay in the borough. And we've identified some places. I was on the phone with Robin this morning. We've identified some places, and she's identified some places that that may work. So I'm going to keep working with her to get her here. Speaking of which, one of the things I did agree upon for FCP is to I don't know if you call it head up or whatever, the business retention and recruitment effort. So what I'm going to be focusing on is getting a group together to help with retention and recruitment with FCP. I've already started that effort, already put it out there.
Yes, is that
one of the things I did say to Robin is, you know, here lies the issue, right? It's the yin and the yang, and it's the things that you're looking at 20,000 feet, but then when you get down and building on your back, is if people want to come in here now, where do they go? Depending on who they are and what kind of business they are, right? So those are things that you need to look at right now, and then you need to look at what's coming, what's going to be vacant in the future. So I think one of the things you have to look at is look what the leases are when the leases are coming to fruition, so that you can figure out, are they going to stay, are they going to re-up, or can you put someone else in there? Anyway, I think that it's more than just saying this would be nice and this would be nice, but some things have to be zoned, some things have to be built out, whatever the case may be, and so that costs money. So it's not an impossible task. I think it's a great thing, and so it just feeds into what you're saying, and I just wanted to let you know that that's already been discussed. So the other thing is I attended Salsa Night, and I attended Salsa Night for the purpose of being to represent and be supportive of it. But I also did it to make contacts from the Latino community. Because one of the things that I am working towards, and I said this at the beginning of the year, and things just kind of, other priorities in terms of the newsletter and some other things, is that I do want to have a forum. And I am starting to recruit for that forum. And the forum looks like this. It will be people from the Black community, people from the Latino community, people from the Asian Indian community, or whatever the community, and people from the Caucasian community, because I just believe that unless you have everybody in a room, just to say, and just to ask questions or to do whatever, that you're just spinning your wheels. But I think we need to hear from everyone. And I think we need to have everyone to feel as though they're included and not excluded. So my goal would be to have that happen. If I can't get that to happen in January, I would definitely like to have it during Black History Month, because I think that would open up the door to a lot of other things. So working on that. I will probably call on some of you to help me out with that, but that's something I think is really important when you're talking about economic community and growth and things like that. That becomes really important because you want to retain people here. That was what's really important, and get more people to buy in here and buy houses and things like that, or whatever, or just to come here, right? I always feel as though civic pride actually comes from people who actually live here, and that they in turn take interest in the community and helping grow the community. It's not so much the outsiders as it is in the insiders, right? The other thing that I've been working on is met with Susan and the mayor on the PWD contract. And as my head was about to blow up, here's what I'm getting. You know, and I thought about this and thought about this and thought about this. you know, this town has a lot of history, and there's been a lot of people sitting in these seats, and there's been a lot of people sitting on the other side, and things have just happened. You know, processes have happened, processes have been put in place, maybe they're haphazard, maybe they're not. And maybe, just maybe, they're outdated. And so it's just like any other business, or even in the federal government, you go back and you look at your processes and your policies and procedures, and you update them constantly. And the mayor, I know, is getting something together to work on that. I just think that's so important. I think we're missing the mark, and I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot every time we don't do that. You can't keep kicking the can down the street, and that just seems to happen. And you know what? It's not a matter of pointing fingers on who did what. It is important, and I do agree with you, Mayor, it is important to get the history so you understand how it happened in terms of what was the psychology behind, or the theory behind developing the way it was at that point in time. But that doesn't mean in today's age that is applicable. So the point of it is you constantly have to look at that. And I, for one, am so committed to like making sure that we look at every single policy, every single procedure, and make sure that it is relevant to today. Because that's part of the problem and the confusion of the communication in this community. We're just too small for this to happen. Speaking of which, I just have to say this because I ran into a couple of incidents this past week. You know, I said this before about Consul and the people who serve in the public. We're more than happy to sit on committees. That's part of what we're supposed to do. That is part of what we signed up for. What we won't be are robots and just hand us things and tell us what to do. That's not how we're going to operate. It is a matter of, I call it psychological reciprocity. I will give you credit for what you do, but you are definitely going to give me credit for what I do, because that's how it works. And so I really, really have no patience at all with egos or anything like that. I think the bottom line is the council has a lot of responsibility. And part of our responsibility is to understand anything or any meeting that we go to before we get there. I am never going to go to a meeting and not understand what the background or how it's done or how it came about or things like that. That just doesn't work, because again, that's kicking the can down the road. I also think one of the things that we have to do is there has to be a transition. I don't understand how we move from a committee or an appointment or through an election or whatever and not have a transition of information. We are not doing this town any favors if we've got to go back and recreate stuff or try to figure things out on our own. It's just not fair. You cannot do that. So if there was some kind of like ordinance or something like that, I actually said to me, isn't there some kind of ordinance or something like that you can put in place that says this has to happen? Because you know what, just imagine if Congress and Senate and the president did that and they did not have a hearing. Can you imagine where we would be? It's the same thing. It's no different. And I don't understand why that's not happening. But anyway, my point to all of this is when you know better, you do better. We know better and we can do that. And so going to in terms of civic pride, going in terms of here's what we need to do, going in terms of policies and procedures and a whole bit, I think as a council, we need to peel this onion back and we need to figure this out. And we really need to spend the time over the next couple of months, or even if we're in a new election and whoever comes in, that there is groundwork set, that this is what you're going to step into and this is how it's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Councilman Johnston, do you have anything?
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing new to report this week. I will have to leave at approximately 8:15.
Okay.
To the hospital. Thank you.
Councilman Engelhardt?
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start with, something that's actually not going on in Flemington, but, it's a good cause and supports an important store here in Flemington, and that is the Possibility Thrift Store that we have, in the, Staples, Center. There is a 5K run, 1K walk, walkathon, you can do whatever you want essentially, on October 21st, Saturday, from 9 to 12, at the community trail up at Warren Community College. It supports the Abilities of Northwest Jersey program, which is the organization that Possibilities Thrift Store here in Flemington also supports. So I wanted to throw that out there. Anybody, Warren County Community College up in Warren County, just go up Route 31. As anybody knows, my family's, both my sons do a lot of running, and this happens to be officially US ATF certified. So there'll be chips, so it's, it actually means a little something. So that I thought was impressive and fun. And go out and support a good cause. So that's number one. Number two is, last year, a neighbor of mine approached me and said, hey, let's do a local, just a Broad Street Halloween decorating contest for the houses. It became a little more than that by the thanks of Love Flemington kind of got wind of it and said, hey, let's help with that. So it was very grassroots and very casual. And we appreciate that. So this year, Love Flemington offered to help us out and do it a little more formal. So we're going to do the Halloween house decorating contest for both residents and businesses again. The Google form will be on the website. We're providing that to Carla. Excuse me. Please register your business or home by Friday, October 27th at noon. The deadline to have your house decorated is 6 p.m. on the 29th. So you have all weekend before Halloween to decorate.
Is this anywhere or just Broad Street?
No, it's anywhere.
It's townwide.
Yeah, no, it's townwide. It was
Okay.
townwide last year as well.
Okay.
It just was a couple kind of organic neighbors that decided to get started last year, and it got, but everybody liked it. So we figured, let's try it again, a little more formal this year. So the deadline is the October 29th at 6 p.m. Winners will be notified on November 1st. By phone or email, and Love Flemington is providing some nice prizes, and we thank them for that.
You have
So
to register for this?
yes, you have to register
So
by
register.
Friday, October 27th at noon. There will be, like I said, we're providing Carla to put on the website a Google form. It'll also be taped.
Don't
It'll
you
also
think it should be called like a living deadline? You're like,
that's a good one. I don't think that's what my husband likes it. And the paper forms will also be available at the borough to be picked up, and I will let you know when they're available. It's done. It's all done. It's ready to go. We just need to send it over.
So it's online or in person?
Both,
Okay.
yes. So you'll have the forms here in person, or you can register online.
live one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm on a roll now.
Now you're distracted. Okay, sorry, the Samuel Fleming House, this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m., October 14th, is their annual pumpkin decorating event. There's going to be desserts, there's going to be cider. You can bring your own pumpkin, you can grab one from our pumpkin patch. And more information is at www.samuelfleminghouse.org. So please come on out for that and cross your fingers for good weather. Flemington Brereton School District, next Board of Ed meeting is October 16th at 7 p.m. Huntington Central School District, their next Board of Ed meeting is also October 16th at 7 p.m. And Liz, I didn't know if you were gonna do this one or not, so I'm just reading it off of the message. The garden group had, a community garden group had their fall meeting yesterday. They wanted to let everybody know that they do need a garden manager and a garden treasurer. So if you'd like to be involved in the community garden, there are plenty of opportunities to get involved. They are, hold on, I'm sorry, this is just coming up here. Kim, if you wouldn't mind, again, this was just sent today, so I apologize for the last minute notice. I know you're involved with the community garden as well, and Jess asked if you could talk to DPW about timelines as far as the water goes, turning it off and on. Anyone who currently has a plot can hold on to it, onto the same plot if they wish. If they have two plots, they need to choose one because there is a waiting list, which is fantastic. The year will be November 1st through 31st. So if you're interested, get on that waiting list for the opportunity to get a plot. I think that's all I'll say about that, unless.
Do you know anything about the shed?
That's actually, there is a little update here on that too. I can read that as well if you'd like. Let's see. Here we go. Trent Levitt has gotten us a grant for a shed through the Environmental Commission. We discussed this and decided that compost barrels would be a better use of the money. Trent is looking into if we can use the grant for this. Matt is going to get Trent prices on barrels. Leamington Borough has accounts with Lowe's and Amazon.
So the Borough Council had to approve that grant.
Yeah, I don't know if
You
that's
can't
really
just change it
realistic.
Without the Borough Council.
I agree. Like I said, I'm just reading the minutes as they were sent to me. So we'll have to make sure we discuss that with them. This literally came in today, so that was a good question. And we'll have to find the answer. Finally, Tony just,
It's the whole process, right? Because the Environmental Commission had to sign off on the grant. So they need to be okay with a change. The council had to approve what was in that grant. Council has to be okay with the change. The grant was for like, spend $1,000 on the shed, and you up to 1,500 after it was completed, we would get the other 500. So I know that Bill Hans has the $1,000. I don't think he's transferred it to the Environmental Commission yet, but they just can't spend it. Willie, no, they can't just decide they're going to spend it without going through.
I agree. Like I said, I just read.
Everybody who approved the original in the first place, plus and Jack, whose grant money it is, has to approve it first and foremost, that they'd even entertain a change of use.
Well, I know you're on the, I know you'll probably follow up since you're on the environmental committee. Like I said, I'm just reading the minutes from yesterday.
Okay.
I think they just need, I think all they did was charge to see if it's possible. They're not saying they're doing it. This is just the minutes from yesterday saying, what are we doing? So.
Susan,
think
is there a
that's fine.
rain date if it rains on Saturday, or is it rain and shine for the pumpkin?
It is, hold on.
It's supposed to
I
rain on
know,
Saturday.
I know. Hold on.
In the afternoon.
Yeah. It says weather
Yes, Carly.
permitting.
This Saturday is rabies clinic.
Oh,
It
good
is,
one.
yes,
Yes,
from
I
9 to
forgot about that. Thank you.
It is?
Yes, it was very quick because the state never got back to me. I had to chase them down.
It seems so early.
No, last year they did it in October.
Last year we didn't have one.
Well, the year before, because I got the forms, but it's October 14th. Is that Saturday?
Yes.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 to 10
Mhm.
at the firehouse.
Wow.
Bay.
I
Thank you
did
for
read
letting
that.
us all
Thank
know
you.
That.
Mhm.
It's on the website and Facebook.
Okey-dokey. Is Dr. Tyndall doing?
Yes.
Okay, I have one more thing, and that is just a follow-up on what, both Jeremy and Tony said. The FCP and the planning board did a really fabulous program in 2019, creating an opportunity zone committee. We worked really great together. It ended up being a fantastic event. We got interest from all over the region, not just the state. to bring businesses and bring investment into the community. So like Tony said, I really don't want to see the wheel be, reinvent the wheel here. I just encourage us to use, all the work that Robin and the FCP and the planning board did together, for that opportunity zone committee. Please resurrect it. Please use the history that that experience that we had, bring new people in as well. But I really would, like to see that, opportunity zone committee, active again. Unfortunately, COVID basically, we had this great event and then literally a couple months later, it was, everything was closed down. So our great momentum was kind of taken away by the pandemic, but I would encourage us to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but get that committee up and running again and use some of the fabulous people that worked on it, as well as new people, and get that energy for that opportunity zone going. And that is it.
Thank you. I'm just gonna, just to point in all of that, the council did recently, approve the larger lots, and getting rid of some other zones like the office zone on Park Avenue and on Parker to allow larger lot zoning to get the kind of stuff that we're talking about that we want. Going to caution everybody that sewer and water is our finite biggest asset in this town. And so we can choose. We want all these apartments that everybody keeps approving on the planning board, or we want to save some of this precious resource for what we really want. These big box entertainment complexes, theaters, or whatever, because that density requires a nice bit of that treasure. So I'm just throwing it out there that, the same group that keeps saying, oh, look at what we can do here, is also saying we need 100 more apartments at the Spice Factory. We need more apartments someplace else. So that's my soapbox, because nothing's going to kill the opportunity of the things that we really want than that. So, which is just urinating away sewer capacity and our precious resource of public water. We're now at the public comment session. I'm really keeping everybody to 3 minutes because it is 12 after 8. We got things to talk about. Robin, you want 3 minutes?
No, I'll do this in 2.
Okay. Name that 2, Robin. Name that 2. Okay.
2, I'm holding it. Am I shouting or you? Take that microphone back, Phil. All right. You could even hold it if you want. Put her on the clock. Can you hear me okay?
I'm watching the clock right now.
Oh, no.
I don't tell the
Time
time
is
online,
ticking.
so you have to make sure you use it.
Okay, here we go. I hope that everyone has noticed the beautiful fall plants that have a level of elegance that some of our other plants haven't really had. I think they're lovely. They're very fall, and we haven't done a fall planting since I've been here for a variety of reasons, with all of the streetscapes and moving planters, and so I think the fall plants look really nice, and I hope that we'll see how it goes. But I was glad that we were able to install them to help cheer up Main Street while it continues to be in construction. I agree. I see these two buildings talking to each other and all the potential, and it's really just like right there. And I just want to say, please support our businesses during these rainy weekends, which, they live for, waiting for the construction to stop to get a great weekend, and then it pours and it's miserable, and the events keep getting canceled. And Bloomfield is about to have some more construction and be impassable for a while. So I think it's really important to check on your Bloomfield neighbors, see if there's anything you can do. And just remember, this too shall pass, but it's really painful while it's happening. And it's necessary, but it's hard. Okay. On the 18th, we have a sip and stroll where we've purchased a lot of local corn stalks and pumpkins and all kinds of stuff, and we could really use a little help decorating. So if you feel like coming to have some fun with us on Thursday, the 18th, between 5 and 9, just an extra hand to take some, what's the matter?
Wednesday's the
Then I apologize. It's the 19th. Apologies. Please come and help us decorate.
You're doing the Simmons Stroll the 19th, and the Witches Walk the 26th?
No, we have the Halloween parade on the 26th,
Oh, right.
which is
The
on your
Witches Walk is
agenda.
the 26th.
I'm confused.
Yeah,
10:18 is the sickness roll?
10:19,
10:19.
When is the decorating?
10:19.
that during that event.
During the event?
Yeah.
is The decorating, so you're
Yeah.
not decorating for the event?
Nope.
Okay, got
I
it.
could use a few hands. If people just want to show up
Yep.
to come and help us decorate, we can use a few hands tying some corn stalks on some things, decorating some pumpkins. We're all ready for some extra help.
Got like
At
30
between-
seconds left.
Between 5 and 10. Thank you. I just wanted to say we had 125 developers show up at our Opportunity Summit, which we had in the past. What we're talking about now, when we talk about opportunity zones, is really more like business development, but it's actually trying to find people to buy like tea berries, which is on the market, and refurbish, put in new concepts. We do have a lot of things.
Round two.
I do
What?
have,
Hang out for round.
I do have one question. I'm sorry,
Sure.
2 questions. One is that I was, on Main Street and business owner had talked about the police the other day, about the bikes that are going down Main Street. And they asked if there is some type of sign that could be put up to, watch for pedestrians or something like that. Does that fall under you, or who does that fall under?
The police.
Okay, so the police would have to get that sign.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll talk to Jerry about that. And the other thing is on the lights for, Carl just brought this to my attention. Carl, can you,
Holiday decorations forms needs to go to JCP&L. Do you know what that is?
are you talking about the
Um,
Halloween ones or the holiday?
Holidays.
We're new at taking this over.
Yeah,
So let's
so-
talk.
Yeah, cause
Yeah.
I don't know what the forms for either.
yeah, so we just
We
got
never
that.
did the lights before.
You
Yeah,
didn't do the snowflakes? Who did the snowflakes last year?
Michael Humphrey.
no, well, there was a company that did, correct?
Yeah.
No, but I know, but
We
who-
work
who
with the
organized it?
company. You're off, the,
Uh,
generally was the beautification person.
Okay, but no matter what, we need to get a form to,
And the borough.
we need to get a form to JCP&L.
Yeah.
So did they send the form that we need?
I haven't.
Okay, so maybe we should. just look that
I'll
up.
call our rep. We have the same rep, so
Okay, yeah.
as you, so we'll call and find out.
It says, we need to reach out to Holiday Outdoor Decor,
That's our rep.
So,
yeah, to put up the lights.
yeah, she already knows that.
Yeah, and I think you have to do something.
Yes, I have the forms. I'll give it to Marcia.
I think you
Give it
have to,
There's something that needs to be signed.
yeah, something with, maybe with the police too, when they come,
I don't know about that. I just know that there is a contract that needs to be signed
yeah,
by Marcia.
okay,
I don't know about that.
come around. My time is.
Your time is
my
up.
time is up.
Is that contract, Tony, time of the essence? Because the contracts really need a council authorization for me to sign. So we can either, yeah, okay, so we could, I don't think there's any reason why it can't be done in 2 weeks at the next meeting.
It will be done.
Okay, no, I'm talking about, I need a motion to talk.
No, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't have to go to Chris first.
He loves to look at all contracts before anybody signs them, trust me.
I do.
I know you. do.
Okay, I'm actually right now. Yes,
Okay, so I'll-
great pleasure of the job.
And to do Chris, and then we get it on the next agenda for authorization. Hang out, Robin, for the second one. Anybody online, having,
I think somebody's gonna handle.
okay, you wanna listen in, to speak?
Allowed to talk?
Yeah, 3 minutes. I just need a name and I can't see what that is.
More?
Hi, good evening. It's Maureen Keelan. I'll try to, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to do this quick in 1 minute. I know elections are coming up, but I'm here to ask Councilman Malik Johnson to step down I know that he won't, and I'm kind of surprised, so I find it sad, and I just wanted to say that to him. And I also wanted to say to Councilman Johnson, the last time that he came to my house, he was yelling up the window, "Why do I keep coming?" And I went to the courthouse to find out about when your court date is, and I keep coming, Malik, because I just want the truth. I just want to believe in the system, and I believe somebody else could have did a better job there. And I feel overwhelmingly sad about the whole situation. And I also want to tell you the night that Olivia told me that you approached her immediately when she walked away from me. I want you to know that I thanked God immediately. And every day I thought of that. So I am not angry. I'm sad that you wouldn't step down because taxpayers paid you biweekly. And we'll just see what happens. And your next court date is December 1st, and I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be there at every court date because I have a very big interest in making sure that justice is served. Okay, that's why I'm coming. So thank you, everyone. That's all I wanted to say.
You.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add one other thing as mayor's report that I forgot to just let everybody know. The bid doc is done for the police processing center. I did forward it to all of you. It is down at the Department of Corrections.
Put her back as
It is back at the Department of
It doesn't
Corrections
say.
for the last approval. I did ask Angela to send in a proposal to manage the bidding process and a separate proposal to manage the construction inside. So I'm waiting for both of those things and waiting for the sign off on the Department of from the Department of Corrections. Okay, we have
I'm
approval.
sorry, Mayor,
Yes.
they didn't include a cost, when they first put together their proposal.
Their not to exceed was simply to
Prepare the doc.
to draw, yep, to do.
Okay,
the
I'm surprised, they
architectural.
usually throw in at least if you wanna hire us for this or that,
You know,
it's
we
on
were
there.
in such a panic and such a rush that they didn't ask and I didn't think about it.
No problem. Can I know you asked if we could, send you some questions, if
Yeah.
we did have some.
Yeah.
I'll just send them to you. I don't wanna take up more time. It's very simple stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you. Approval of minutes. Carla, when these are approved, are you all caught up?
No.
Are you caught up on all the old stuff?
I have the one in May, that's over 4 hours long.
The budget meeting for May? Is it budget?
No, I think it's after that, I'm gonna on, but that
Okay.
one was gonna take me a while.
Okay, that was the last meeting for Mr. Trump.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm trying to knock out the small ones.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the regular session July 10, 2023 minutes?
Long move.
Is there a second?
Tilly a second.
All in favor?
No,
No?
Any corrections?
it's not a correction, it's a notation that I don't believe that Councilman Johnson should have been voting on the police station contract on those meeting minutes. So I don't know if we can put that in as a comment. Because I don't have an issue
Well,
with
you
the
could,
actual
they'll be in
minutes.
tonight's minutes as a comment.
No, he didn't, but he's not reviewing the bid documents that we were just discussing, but he did vote on the
But he
most
voted
recent
yes.
HVAC contract, so I just think we should be consistent if we're going to include him or not. And in that case, he voted on the police HVAC contract, so I'd just like to go on the record that I don't have a problem with last week's minutes, so I'll change it to abstain,
Okay.
but I do want to go on
Well,
record that I
going
didn't
forward,
feel that he should have voted on that.
Okay.
Is that better way of
Yeah, I
doing
think
it?
abstaining is better.
Yeah,
You're
I
on record
agree.
tonight as to why.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
July 10th, executive session meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Long move.
Tilly a second.
All in favor?
Aye. Are you okay with those?
Yes.
Okay.
The
great.
executive?
All right. Consent agenda, if there's anything. Just want to make sure. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Purpose.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
and Council President Long.
Yes.
Please note, number 5 on that consent agenda is the new police car that is in the budget this year, for them in the capital budget to get a new police car. The fire marshal's car is on its last legs, and Corporal McNally has identified a replacement former police vehicle for that, which is being looked at. It's used, it's got low mileage. I think it's gonna run around $8,000, not a lot, I can't remember. But the money would be coming out of the fire marshal's trust fund. So, it is not in the budget this year, but it comes out of the trust fund, so, look for that at the next meeting. We have no public hearings tonight. Regular agenda resolution 2023-181, authorizing the approval to submit an award extension request for LA 2022 Williams Street Road Improvements Project on New Jersey DOT. Can I have a motion to approve that?
Engelhardt will move.
Is there a second?
Purpose.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sure, Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President Long.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2023-27, amending chapter 7, traffic, schedule 1, no parking, and schedule 15, parking permits by adding a resident parking permitted area during certain hours on the north side of Catton Street. Just to let you know, I've been meeting with the county on a list of things. We've had issues with the parking on Catton Street. There's a lot of homes there that don't have driveways or garages, and a number of people on Park Avenue as well who have been parking on the south side of Catner. So, so the county, we've come to an agreement that Monday through Friday before 8 AM and after 5 PM, and weekends and holidays, the north side of the street, which is currently restricted for official use only, which is police or somebody bringing in dockets to the courts, or detectives going in to testify. They occupy that little cutout. This will allow residents to come in and to the police department and get a resident permit and park there in those other hours. And they're gonna have to vacate by 8 in the morning. But they can park there at night. And I think, did Caitlin, did you amend that to include the holidays? I did not see holidays on this list.
Yeah, I did not get an email response to the email that I sent to you. That the email that you sent to her, I forwarded out there. The email you sent to me, I forwarded on to her and asked for the correction. I did not get a reply for it.
Okay,
I
so,
did not see her running around the office.
so we need, so can we just do that tonight to say this includes holidays as well?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Because it's only an introduction.
right.
Yeah, as long as it's made very clear. Yeah.
Right.
Fine with that.
Okay, can I have a motion to introduce?
And then there's discussion
Yep,
after.
yep.
Yes, Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Long as I,
Discussion.
Okay. Is there any way that we can limit the size of the parking on the north side of Main Street? Like vehicle size?
Wait,
Because-
Main Street?
I mean, on Kavner Street that we're referring to, because it's tight through there, even when one county person is there. Or a police car.
Well, they don't,
It is
there's no
so
strike, right? So
tight.
if we have the DPW paint car stripes.
It doesn't matter. When there's somebody parked on that north side of Kavner, it's tight through there. So if you get somebody that's got a dually
Oh, yeah. yeah.
and parks it on it, there's no way in how you
So
get down.
we could change this to say, what's the word I want, not.
Compact cars.
We've
Compact
done some
cars,
compact cars.
just, I mean, I don't know if compact cars are gonna help that much, but regular cars, I mean, a sedan is.
Who has a sedan anymore? Everybody's driving SUVs.
I do.
She's the only one in town.
Your sedan is larger.
That's true. That's true.
Can we perhaps maybe have the traffic engineer identify, how many places could be, could accommodate compact versus,
Mike can do
or
that.
Mike can.
Mike can absolutely count out the spaces.
Like maybe we can make some of them, at least as many compacts as
Are you
possible.
saying that there, any car that you put down there is a problem, but if compact is there, it would be better, but it's still gonna be a problem.
It's the
I
big
think
ones that stick out, you know, the window, the mirrors. Right, is that what you're concerned about?
It's still gonna, any car there is gonna be a problem. Obviously, a compact car is not gonna be as much of a problem as a full-size SUV. But look what drives around town,
Well,
full-size SUVs, and those stupid electric bikes, that's all anybody's driving.
encouraging compact vehicles is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
For the environment, so it may be, only compact cars along that stretch might at least encourage, those with smaller cars. I mean, there's, to be honest with you, a lot of people have compact cars, you know, so they get preference.
I
Is
just
there,
don't know
is
if
there
they're
another
necessarily
word
live
that we're
there.
looking for besides compact cars?
Did
I'm
the
looking for the
compact cars.
police, I'm looking for the
Do you
police for
do a
recommendations.
weight limit?
No, because.
Signifying that
Be
nobody
registered as
realized.
overweights and, yeah, that's.
We added some compact cars over this year, another.
On Main Street.
That's
Yeah,
that
Main
one
Street,
spot,
that was
right,
one.
right.
Now it's present, whatever you want. It is referenced ordinance.
Can we just have Mike look at it before
Sure.
this comes out again?
Mayor,
and see
you
what-
had mentioned a while ago that we were gonna do a parking committee, maybe we
Oh, I
can
don't-
jumpstart that.
That parking committee is really to look at the traffic that is gonna be generated from the Union Hotel and what we're gonna do with it. And how we're gonna keep it, I mean, that's really, and
So let's have a
potential,
look at the
and
compact.
potential parking meters because of whatever's coming down, you know, with the Union Hotel charging for parking and how everybody's gonna be looking for free parking.
So maybe
It's also tough with garbage collection too.
Mhm.
When that is full of garbage cans, that's gonna be an issue.
What's full of garbage?
When like garbage day or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
recycling, if they put it
That
out
night.
along that.
Put it
road.
There, I mean, yeah,
outside.
but then you've got, but on garbage day, you're by, you know, you already have all these detectives and big, whatever vehicles. So are you comfortable with, if we say just compact cars only?
And once again, if someone parks a compact car 10 inches off the curb, it's gonna be the same as a large size pickup.
Right.
Well, I can't, you know, I
Better
mean,
than nothing.
right,
Yeah,
it's better than what's parking there now during the day, during court hours. So let's make the compact cars only, and we'll talk to Mike about how many cars. we
Yeah,
can get there.
maybe Mike and Chief Vitello can meet.
Yep.
So
Give
we
it a look over.
Marcia,
It might also, no,
I think we
no,
should-
we
we don't
can
have
do it.
And then Caitlin also had a question. Did you answer it?
No. I don't see it.
Yeah, she said that's what spurred your, I'm just looking at my notes here. That's what spurred your comment back to I then forwarded to her. You know, let's see. Capper Street, right?
Capper Street.
Right, Capper Street. Part of it is currently no parking on the entire north side, and added a free parking permit.
Well, she wanted to know how many cars could go there.
I believe this needs the engineer to add the feet from the curb to correctly indicate the specific area of Captain Street that will have permitted parking. It will not be the entire road. I think probably we should make these changes right in the text and choose the next time.
But isn't the, I mean, there's gotta be.
That's why I don't think she
There's
had
gotta be an ordinance on the books now allowing parking over there unless, there's gotta be, I mean.
So she's saying that, it's currently referenced in the ordinance, north side of Park Avenue and Main Street.
Okay,
Currently no parking on the entire north side.
right, but then
So
the
they
county,
took it,
the
so-
county did a cutout. And so are they parking on a no parking street without authorization of the borough?
I'm sure they are.
Could potentially be. Mhm. Could potentially be.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, just like they put up the fence on Court Street to.
So we have, sorry, can I do it? So we have the compact cars, we have holidays. And there's a footage issue here that I don't know if you want to address, Marcia.
I'll address it.
Maybe we should. I don't want to like ran on your.
Do we
or
want
should
to,
we do it,
wait,
council?
if we're gonna be doing all this, and we can withdraw this and introduce it in 2 weeks, because nobody's asked for it, we just know that, because Catholic people have been in here asking for help. So this is really just to fix a problem that is it's a problem, but nobody's actually coming in here and rattling cages about it, but do we want to, do we want to simultaneously authorize the county to use those
That would be up
spaces?
for- Up to you guys.
I mean,
100%.
But I mean, if somebody gets hurt on, like, if we haven't authorized them to park there and some cop car gets smashed, they open up their door and somebody drives by and takes it off.
We're on notice now, though.
I know, we've gotta do something, we've gotta authorize them to park on the road.
I agree.
Okay, so we might as well amend it, and then we'll
I think
withdraw
that's probably
tonight.
best.
Can I get somebody who withdraw their motion?
Tilly will come on.
Can I have withdraw a second?
Withdraw.
Thank you. All right, so we'll pull this out.
Yeah, it was just the one thing.
Let's fix it. We'll talk to Mike tomorrow. And we'll reintroduce it in 2 weeks. Okay.
And Chris, you said Marcia has the information, the additional information
Yeah,
that you need.
Caitlin's asked.
Yeah,
So we can
yeah.
discuss it tomorrow.
This email was forwarded. It
What's
was,
the date?
it was one you replied to, but I think that you just kind of, her email to me was Wednesday, but I don't think I forwarded it to you Thursday.
Wednesday of last week. Third? Third?
That might be.
Okay. I'll find it.
Okay.
Wednesday was the 4th. Thursday was the 5th.
Okay.
4.
You're like around these dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
October
Okay,
31st
you're-
too. October 31st too.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, the second ordinance, for introduction, amending chapter 7, traffic, schedule 1, no parking, and schedule 15, parking permit by adding resident parking permitted area during certain hours on the north side of Catner. See that, sorry, guys, this was table. Sorry. Ordinance 2023-28, amending chapter 7, traffic, schedule 1, no parking by modifying the no parking locations on Mine Street. So, this goes back to those parking spaces in Burkett's that were painted without authorization. We got rid of them. And now, Mike Campion and Chief Rotella are desirous of us actually banning parking there. Because these are the spots right at Central Avenue. So that the turning radius is really not safe. It is just short of what the state of New Jersey finds legal. If it met that standard of the state, we could have just put up signs. But it's just short, and the chief said it's just too narrow for cars coming in and out right in front of there. So this just bans a couple of parking spaces where they'll be able to actually put up no parking signs. So can I have a motion to introduce?
How about, yeah, Tilly one.
Is there a second? Okay, discussion.
Just have one question. You and I are not committed to vote on the current application that's near this.
It has.
Is there any, are any of the parking counts associated with these two spots? Is
No,
it
their parking counts have to be part of their application on their site. They can't count on site parking.
Marcia, sometimes applicants include street parking, so I want to make
I
sure.
don't know.
And if I don't know, I'm suggesting that you and I abstain because there's something that could be in conflict.
I disagree. This is a public, first of all, I can't vote, so you can abstain if you want, but this is a public street.
So I'll
So,
abstain. then.
Yeah, you can
That's fine.
abstain.
I just want to be safe than
I have-
sorry.
I have
I'm
no
not familiar with
idea.
the application.
me either. So I have no idea. I've had this in the works for a couple of weeks and, because we continue to have problems and, with people parking there and then, cars having problems turning, so. Any other discussion?
So I want to clarify, I thought this was from Park Ave to Central Station.
So
So it's not.
it is, do we have the ordinance in front of us? It is not,
Yeah, this is 235 feet of the northerly curb line of Park Avenue to a point 274 feet
Oh, it might be.
west thereof.
it might be, Mike isn't on here anymore. Mike is not on here anymore. I mean, I know that the chief is targeting those few spots in front of, Jeff Gonzalez, whatever that little real estate office is, and Burkett's.
But that's not what the
Benchmark.
resolution is saying.
Benchmark.
Benchmark lending.
So I don't, if this is part of it, this is what came in from the chief. Chief Patel is the one who submitted the list. So he may feel that all of this is not safe.
Detective Karen Brandt, do you know, is there I believe there's a no parking sign already on Park Avenue, like close to the corner?
There is.
So maybe this is continuing from the sign,
From any intersections, 25 feet.
that'd be great if that was enforced. I'm not talking there, I'm talking somewhere else, but that's another topic for another day. But this says 235 feet west from the northerly curb line of Park Ave. So how wide is Park Ave? Park Ave's what, 12 feet wide, 15 feet wide?
But it's from the, I think it's from the corner.
Right, but that's not, this is saying from a point 235 feet west of the northerly curb line of Park Ave, which would be the curb closest to Main Street,
Right,
right?
towards Burkett's.
To a point 275 feet west thereof,
Right, so that's 275 minus 230, what was that?
235.
So that's 40 feet. How many parking spaces are in 40 feet? 3 or 4. So that's Burkett's. That's, what's the name of the real estate company?
Is that Benchmark?
Benchmark and Gonzalez. Probably what that is by those 4 spots.
So why wouldn't, devil's advocate here, why wouldn't we just take it one spot further on the other side of the crosswalk to Stangle Station? I mean, just, yeah. to
I can't
Stangle.
answer that because the chief we sent this in.
But at whose request? At your request?
Actually, at the neighborhood's request and Mike Campion to get this, so to be able to legally sign no parking.
Is Mr. Gonzalez aware of this?
Yes. When we first took away the parking spaces, he was not happy. And then he talked to his neighbor in Benchmark Realty and I guess he's okay with it.
Okay.
Because it's a site distance thing.
I would recommend necessarily taking away another unless, unless we're sure, because it could affect neighbors negatively in the other direction, So I wouldn't necessarily extend it further than is recommended by the police.
But the other parking lot, the next spot over is right directly on the other side of the crosswalk. I thought that's what the issue was, not being able to see people in the crosswalk. Why would we take the spot on one side and not?
It's
on the
people that are, I think part of it is people coming in and out of the Burkett parking lot who use the vape shop or the pet shop down there. They can't see when they try to get out. I mean, there's issues with the site, I guess, but for the chief, it's also about Central Avenue and that turning radius. That's the way he explained it to me.
So if we have an issue with the turning radius on Central, how do we not have an issue with the turning radius on Stanton?
It's wider. The street's very wide. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump.
No, you're right. It has to be one.
I'll give Jerry a call tomorrow.
Okay, that's interesting. You can always amend it, so, okay, roll call please.
Or Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Abstain.
and Council Vice President Tilly.
I'm gonna stay in on this as well, so I have more information.
That's fine. And Council President Long.
Oh, yes.
Okay, we'll get some more information. We'll get this high and tight unless it is, because we don't know. We don't have a work session tonight. We're up to public comment session number 2. Robin, do you want to add a little bit more?
Just a little
We
bit.
cut you off.
It's okay.
You with 3
Thank
minutes
you.
and then took away 1, right?
Yeah. I can't do it in 2, I apologize, but, just anecdotally, people do talk about there were people who were very pleased that the no parking in front of Burkett's, that no parking in front of Burkett's, happens, thank you, that the parking spot that was put there willy-nilly went away. so people really have mentioned to us that they're very pleased to see that happen, so. But I don't
Well, we're
really,
gonna get it there. It's a
Yeah,
question of.
I don't know
want
the
to take
specifics.
more, or, right? I think that's really the question.
Yeah, I just wanna make, I mean, if we're doing this, are we
Yeah.
going down far enough?
Right, so it's gonna happen. It's not a question of not.
yes, so point well taken, and, back to the Opportunity Zone Summit, so we are talking to Mark Salik's office about another Opportunity Zone Summit, working with the same people we've worked with in the past, working with some new people. But basically, what that is it's a marketing summit for the real estate that's available in our town. And getting the 125 developers to come that we got in the past, you know, they understood the opportunity zone, they understood the benefit, which is a long-term benefit. It's to really to get the maximum benefit, you have to be in an investment for 10 years. And it's not you're not buying a house, buying a building for yourself. You're not buying a business that you're gonna run because it has to be just an investment. But that is really what I think we need, because when we talk about the properties that anyone can move into, most of them really need a lot of work. They need, venting if they're gonna be restaurants, they need mold, they need code issues. So they're just, people are sitting on properties for better times. And some of them, they would, they would sell, and the person coming in would hopefully have the capital as an investment to improve them.
Can I ask you about
Sure.
specific properties that I get asked about all the
Yes.
time? What's going on with Red Vanilla?
He just improved his HVAC, which makes any tenancy more viable.
So is he planning on renting it out?
They are playing, yes, it's available right now, and they would love to find a great tenant now that the HVAC is operational. They can find a great tenant.
Are any of the people that were looking at it before, are they coming back in? Now that do they know that it's up for release now? Cause I know there were people.
I
that
think
came in to
that's
try to
where-
do it.
That's really where we could do a better job of marketing our town as a very desirable place to open a business and either buy or lease a property. But when I first got here, I asked a lot of people, is it the market or the marketing?
Was both.
Yes. But the marketing of our town as a desirable place to open a business, do business was really lacking. I mean, if you watch, I'm not even sure what channels it is, but the Middlesex marketing, they have TV commercials saying, come, it's
They
great
do a
here.
really good job at,
Right.
and so does Princeton,
The county spends a lot of money in Middlesex.
Somerset too.
but
So,
Princeton does the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're on
absolutely.
TV all the time.
Okay, wait, I'm wondering 10 a few more buildings. The fueling station on the corner of William.
we spoke to them directly. They're about to break ground in about a week, and Mike
Really?
is,
So I could talk to this one, believe it or not. So a very good friend of mine knows them personally. And so they gave me some feedback on it, and he's actually going to, and I'll see if I can squeeze you in an invitation. They're coming to our house for dinner. So
Is that an invitation for all of us?
I'm coming.
Anyway. So, I mean, I can, I'll dig into that a little bit more and see maybe if.
We
I got the-
Or a cocktail
We
or
use
something.
their property for our plant staging between us and the DPW, and I had to call to ask permission to drop the plants. And Mike felt that they were going to break ground imminently, and they are, but it'll be very buttoned up.
Yeah.
but in the next week or two, they're getting ready to go.
How about the, I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw something, it might have been on Facebook. Was it them? They got a gas line? Did anyone?
I don't know about that.
You saw this today?
Yeah,
I thought, yes, they had a
is
gas.
that, oh, that's what that,
Yes.
Yeah,
Scotia
yeah, Scotia Ring, yes.
how about Garden State South? That location, what's going on there?
You
Yeah.
should ask Dave Giuliani, because he's been in touch with him about when they're opening or finishing their construction.
But they're not really given a commitment, is that what I heard? I thought I heard you say that they're not really given a commitment when they're.
I
They
haven't
just
heard a
kind of
date.
stopped everything. That's what I thought I had heard from them. So, and you said that Dave Johnson was it Dave who was calling or Dave Giuliani? I don't know which
Dave Giuliani.
was calling.
Because of
and
the,
asking them constantly.
The empty property ordinance, the abandoned property.
Yep,
ordinance.
we want active, we need activity.
Is he interested in opening or is he interested in flipping?
I don't really know.
How can we find that out? Give me his number, I'll ask him.
Okay.
I don't have a problem
How
with that.
about the barber shop on the corner of Vine and
No
Main?
problem.
Oh, mine.
Yes, where does
The
going on
barber
with that?
shop, he was all
The
set to
whole-
open, he put in all his work, and then
We've heard he's not coming.
what's so,
With all that signage, he's not coming?
And part of the building is for lease.
is Dave doing anything about that being empty?
I would ask him.
Okay,
I don't think that's been empty long enough to, because they had actively been working,
Yeah.
That's
because that
true.
gentleman put a lot of money into
Yes,
that
he did.
to walk away.
How about the entire dance complex?
Dance complex?
Plot, what's it called? That's what I call it, where,
California
Wendy's.
Kebab Cafe.
by Wendy's,
Next
that,
to
that group of.
Oh, yeah.
stores,
Dance-
Tile thing.
Yeah, I think of that as a tile store.
Yeah, what's going on over there?
Nothing, but this is where, and this again, ties back to one of the FCP mission, which is retention and recruitment. And we really need to we've done a pretty good job of retention and we've done a pretty good job of recruitment. But with these larger, the really excellent news, it's great news, when we see, Hammer and Stain move to Stangle Road, they love their space. 3D Art is moving from Main Street to Stangle Road. We love having this in the arts district. At the same time, it allowed the corner to open a children's store right next door, so that whole block is anchored with something really special. And we just have this constant migration of people, T-Berry's moved to down the block.
And they're moving up the block, it's very bizarre.
Safe Harbor moved to closer to the middle.
Okay.
The lawyer's office next to the new T-Berry's shop is moving down to where Nature's Energy was. So it's like, it's a whole shift of energy.
The nail salon is moving to North Main
Oh,
Street, I
yeah.
saw today.
And look at how big the Tudor.
That is
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, that's the
My
next
grandparents' house.
Okay, but to the point of it is, we're all sitting here and saying that's nice and that's great and the whole bit. But outside this community, and even gonna venture to say inside this community, it doesn't resonate, right? It just doesn't resonate. I'm not picking, I'm just saying it doesn't resonate. And it kind of goes back to when you're saying civic involvement. The point of it is if you don't talk about your town, nobody knows about your town. So I think there's two things to this, right, in my mind, and from a marketing standpoint and an advertising standpoint. One is the community, and what do they know, and what do they see? That's one thing, because to me that's more of a question of survey or whatever the case may be, to get feedback on how they feel about their community and what businesses are going in. And I think the other side of that is advertising outside the community and saying, here's what's going on. It's not a matter of the movement, and while I applaud that, believe me, I'm not saying, but I'm saying that if all these things are going on, And if I come onto Main Street, what do I see? And what should I see, right? So it's more than just Stango, just saying it's over in Stango, because nobody knows it if they're just coming down Main Street. To be quite frank, right?
Sure.
And so the point of it is how do you put all, or the highway, and how do all of that come together? But that's an advertising marketing type function, which I really, really believe that once you get that done and the community talking at the same time, that's when it's gonna prosper.
Yeah,
You know, and that's when you're gonna start recruiting businesses in. I mean, yeah, I think business and recruitment and retention is extremely important. But for what? For what? Because if I'm a business and I wanna come into this town, I'm gonna do my due diligence and do all the market analysis and the whole bit to find out how much money I can actually make here if I invest X, Y, Z. And to your point, if they've got to come in and build out, that's a whole nother ball, right? I mean, that it is what it is.
well,
So,
that is the issue.
but I also think that NJDEA needs to get involved with helping on the marketing part and Chamber of Commerce, because there are grants and things that people need to know about. So all I'm saying is this, I think it's not just one thing, I think there's several things. And if we just go down this road, these things are dangling, and then we're gonna have to chase back and get this. I think what has to happen, in my mind, if you're talking about recruitment and retention, and if you ask me to say, will you help us with this, to which you guys did, and I said I would, is coming up with an actual plan on how we're gonna do that. I know you have the strategic plan, but now it's the tactical approach.
Yeah.
That's what I think I've heard.
Definitely, we need we need many tools in our toolkit. I will say that we have recently shifted our marketing. We hired a new marketing firm and we explicitly said, focus on the businesses and do it in a sort of at a high level editorial, like as if you were a travel writer. You know, because when people travel, they read the blurbs and it's very exciting and they want to go. And, you know, a lot of our marketing has been focused on events, but not really on interviewing the shop owner. You know, we've done Susie from Ye Old, who doesn't have a very robust website, doesn't take a lot of pictures. I wish she would because she has fabulous things. But you know, we gave her a really attractive complement of 10 photos and an interview of why they're here and what their plans are, because their plans are to expand into the full building. You know, these things are exciting, but we want to do it to get people in neighboring towns to come and support the business.
But again, I'm getting back to the point, but I do
Sure.
think it still has to be inside as well. And I
Yeah.
think the focus really has to be on the people who live in the borough, or even in Flemington period, to talk about Flemington, and I don't hear that. Just from my standpoint, I don't hear it, right? And so if I'm at a party or whatever the case may be, I want people to talk about Flemington. Oh, by the way, did you know this, da, 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 da? So they begin to talk. I don't hear that. And so I think that's a part of the marketing, you know, if you hire a marketing company, actually they should be focusing on that as well, as how do we get the community involved in that?
Well, isn't that one of the purposes of the newsletter? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was.
It-
I mean, I
was
was
just thinking about
maybe we're not
it-
using the newsletter
Rob
to
is
its full
doing the whole thing
potential.
about, like a whole little
Well,
blurb
it's
about
talking
where,
about the opening.
what is empty on Stengel right now? What's available on Stengel? Is there anything?
Something that where Amazing Deck and Fastenal was.
Yeah.
Is available.
Yeah,
The
and-
Mortara building,
Is
which,
available.
and these like of a dream opportunity zone project. Where somebody's investing in a 10-year, you know, they're in it for 10 years, because we don't really want investors who come and do a project and
What would that be slated for? What kind of?
it's supposed to be restaurant entertainment.
Right.
But they never made that happen.
It's not happening yet.
Oh,
What's
is it gonna happen?
I hope so,
And what's happening?
but
with Bluefish?
things happen very slowly here.
Bluefish, I mean, Bluefish looks like they got rid of all the
They're-
chairs out.
They're
front.
closing to transform their restaurant into, I believe, 2 new concepts. But
That's what I thought.
they're still
Still
open
do
for
takeout.
businesses takeout or to takeout.
And will they be a sit-down restaurant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The patio. Renovating and reimagining and.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
It's they never close, they're still open.
It's very
just for takeout.
exciting for them to.
Yeah,
And what,
big time.
and what's available on Central Ave?
Where, Misa Bor is, there's was a,
Consignment shop or something? like
yes,
that?
a consignment shop. And then all of the turntable properties.
I wasn't gonna ask about
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
God, just don't go down there.
But what I'm saying is we have these, really important opportunities, like Victorian Plaza. You know, is a building that had a use, the use shifted. The building needs HVAC and all kinds of other things to be viable. You know, we've brought lots of people to see
There is
Victorian
a
Plaza.
company that has been looking and watching that property since December.
Yes,
They have done, an expansion at their other location and are waiting, and I'm ever hopeful that they're going to buy it. I do. And I will tell you afterwards offline, but it's a corporate thing that, you know, I mean, I'm hoping they come because they'll bring 35 to 40 white collar employees who want to walk and eat in town.
that's great. We
great.
need that.
I'm hoping.
So the Fastmo building, is that a possibility for a restaurant?
Possibly, sure.
I imagine anything is if somebody's got the money to fit it out for a restaurant.
And to vent it,
We don't know what the inside is like.
Did you say it's a vented?
vent it.
Vent, yes.
Oh, it's not vented.
But what
It's not a
California,
restaurant.
put in any of those,
Oh, I know, just,
that location was one of the proposals for a cannabis store that did not get a license from us. Was over there for one of the buildings, I mean,
Mhm.
one of the many stores
I
there,
remember that.
but it was not the one that used to have the kebab place, which is California Grill.
Mm-hmm.
Have you toured inside of any of this? Have you toured inside the kebab place to see if it's a viable restaurant?
No,
Can you see if you can?
yes,
Well,
I think what we need to do is to do another inventory of all of these assets. We did start to do, I had a helper working on a program, on a database of vacancies on Main Street, on some of the busier blocks, so we just started we're wrapping that up.
Is there anything available over in the old Paul Bunyan Village where Teresa's Cafe is and the Dominican restaurant?
Yes, well, if TMS is moving.
Yeah.
Then there is. But again, it's you know, we have people who want to open restaurants in this town.
yes,
We have a restaurant who wants to move.
has to.
Where are they going? Because they're, you know, we remember when we went over to Turntable Junction and we looked at the restaurant space there. Can somebody walk in, you know, even if they have to put in $5,000 or $10,000 and have a restaurant
And
and
platform one is not a viable restaurant location?
So what she was told is that it's not that, that they're not leasing it right now, maybe in 5 years.
It's gonna let it sit and leave it empty?
well, we do have an abandoned property ordinance just for
So
this
so
purpose.
Dave needs to go out. Is that really their plans to split it empty for 5 years?
I didn't speak to them directly, but that's what we've heard.
Well, that's what they told her,
Yeah,
that they weren't leasing it, and maybe in 5 years they would lease it. But let me go back to
That's
California
awesome.
Grill. California Grill, the old California Grill building is up for lease? Is that up for lease?
That whole
Yeah.
thing, yeah,
Because but that's in Borough, right?
yeah.
yes. We've sent people there and nothing's happened, so
Because
I don't know.
Was they
I mean, there's
closed?
so many
They
reasons.
Closed the restaurant for a number of years, so I
Yeah.
don't know what condition it is inside.
It's in bad shape.
I'm sure.
is?
I
Yeah.
know
Is
it
there a
is.
reason why it's an issue?
From
Animals?
That might be something that that Liz should have asked Dave to take a look at, because that building's in really bad shape.
Well, I don't think.
I
she's
mean,
gonna
Red
go to
Crab is
the-
also viable, Freshy. You know, there are some spaces, but again, I think the best way to do this is to have a list of assets. You know, maybe to have some understanding of what condition they're in, maybe have some understanding of what the property owner wants to do, because there are some people who really want to wait and sell their building
Yep.
when things are better, and it creates a, you know, it's a slippery slope.
So just so that you know, Marshall, one of the things that has happened, the person that I'm working with, salvage state, she did go through and go through all the leases that are available now. It's a very short list.
But she's willing to make an investment to.
Oh, she's
Okay,
willing to build,
right.
absolutely. She just needs to get out. So the point of it is
It's
that,
such a good space. for this
so
one.
I mean, I didn't think about how, but you're saying that's, I don't, she's not gonna go into another.
Yeah,
gas
but the cost,
situation.
and if they just put a new HVAC, that could be a place that she's willing to go.
That's.
Red vanilla,
Vanilla.
That's really.
Oh, that's big,
Size
that's
is
too
too
big
big
for her.
It could be 75. Well,
But-
I think
but
that-
I think- but I think-
the
but I think-
platform one is
Yeah.
way too big.
Well,
way too big.
well, no, because I think what she, well, I don't wanna talk on different stuff away, but she's got a plan and she got that. The Freshie is definitely a possibility. I think, what is it called, crab? Joe's?
Red Crab,
Red crab, I think that's definitely a possibility.
oh yeah,
Talk about juicy seafood.
That's what it is.
right.
Juicy seafood. What was it?
Yeah, I'd rather just because there's animals.
So anyway, the bottom line is that, I mean, we can get off this, but the bottom line is that she did do some research, she came up with some places, we're gonna work with them now. But I still think, I'm just gonna finish my belief, I still think what we have to focus in on is not just the outside, but the inside. It's so important that we get people inside this community talking about this.
So-
And yes, that's the
Can
newsletter.
you do an article, Tony's got a deadline in November 6th, that actually just kind of says, these are the exciting things about people like wanting to stay in Flemington. These guys need to
Yeah,
hear, these guys
exactly.
are moving to here,
Exactly.
these guys move to here, this just opened up.
Yeah.
Just like all like bullets.
Yeah.
So people can, because bullets give you that kind of energy and
Yes.
movement.
That's.
That's very similar to the article you wrote the last time we had was very similar to that. This is what's happened.
Right.
In fact, I think you even mentioned,
But I think what Marcia.
you
is trying
mentioned
to
hammer
say-
and stain in that.
But I think Marcia is trying to say, here's, I think she wants you to blow it up a little.
Right,
And
Flemington, look at what's going on in town here.
and market it. So maybe the marketing company can help with how to put that in so that it grabs you.
Yeah, I've got two things. I mean, I was around for the first iteration of the opportunity zone, and I still have my little card with the removable flat drive on it. So, I mean, if we look at where Flemington was then to what it is today, Robin has brought us, has
God bless you.
brought us to a place that I don't even think we thought we would have been in
I'm
5
sure.
years.
I completely agree with you. And the energy in that room with there was at least 20 or 30 people at every meeting. And we really, it was a fantastic group effort. And I don't want us to,
I think
COVID, it was literally, we had this great thing. and then
I
COVID was
think
a
the
few
other
months
thing that's
later.
happening now is we have to be realistic with the real estate market is like. My neighbor just sold her house recently for $50,000 more than what she listed it. She made $200,000 on her home in 5 years. So if the residential property is increasing like that, the commercial property is increasing like that too. And I mean, there's a lot of people that can't afford commercial property now, especially if it's like the building on the corner of Main and Mine and needs, the guy wants $1 million plus for it, and it probably needs $800,000 worth of work in it.
And we need a fabulous tenant for the.
So,
The buyer for the acre.
But that is what you get with Opportunity Zone
right,
is a fund could be 10 teachers who all sold their houses, made that, don't want to pay taxes on a capital gain and don't maybe have to, can put that money into a fund with 9 other teachers, and then they buy a building.
Yeah.
And they're just investors, but they buy the building, they fix it up, knowing that how many people do we need to know want to open a restaurant here? You know, we know they do, but there's no place, there's no
I mean,
good
we
space.
really need more restaurants in this town.
I mean, look at me.
But that's how you get that to happen, is it's not generally, I mean, it would be wonderful if people, residents in Flemington wanted to invest. But as we know, that's not exactly what's happening. So getting outside people to come to buy a building as an investment, fix it up, and make it viable for good tenants that the community really wants is the way you go. So I think another opportunity zone, basically all we did at the Opportunity Zones Summit was we said, we will have every single person you need to contact to make a project happen. Sit in a
Big
room.
networking event.
So we introduced them to, these are all the people you're gonna need to meet, and they really want to meet you. We talked about zoning, and then we showed all the
When you
projects.
say all the people you wanna meet, who are the people that they want to meet?
Planning board.
The mayor, the
session,
planning board, the council,
Yeah, we had council members there.
the
People who-
planning board attorney,
Everybody in
the
the same room at
chamber,
the same
the county. We just had everybody there saying, we want you to invest
Chamber of
here.
Commerce and.
And then we
Tourists
showed a
and
list of
people.
all of the all of the, real estate opportunities. We were going higher level, larger plots, vacant property, you know, most of which is tied up now, you
No,
know.
I'm wondering.
But this is more
I'm
like
wondering if
the
a
building.
VC, companies that are funded by VCs, venture capitalists.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if you target those companies because they're looking, right, and the VCs want their money back, right?
mhm,
And so it can become a win-win.
yeah,
I've worked with a lot of VCs.
Yeah.
With companies that were funded by VCs. And so they tend to be a little bit more, focused. So, and if it's something that's gonna prosper and get the money back right away, they're in. So I'm just wondering if we tap into that network of.
we were on a roll.
Yeah, and there actually was venture capitalists.
Yeah,
At that
we
event there.
found a very good list of people, and other people helped us find a very qualified list of
There were people
investors.
that were small investors, big investors, there were people that were interested in small sites, big sites, there was
So my
lots
point
of.
of it is that you still have those. people.
Sure.
So why aren't we tapping into those? Why aren't we
Because
starting with
we
that?
do, we haven't had this conversation, I think, as a group. And we haven't all had a single focus.
Well, let me re-ask the question, because it's not a matter of pointing fingers.
I'm not
asking-
pointing
I'm
fingers.
asking theoretically. So the point of it is, have we kept in contact with those people at all? Or are we gonna be knocking back on the door saying, hey, do you remember da 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 da? That, I guess that's what I'm asking.
I think that, I think we can now say where we're at with development. What's moving forward, what's moving slow, but moving, you know, that, we have so much
So we have a network.
evidence of like, when, you know, I feel driving by the Spice Factory, I can't even tell you how many people have said to me, oh my God, I drove by the Spice Factory and they're building another level there, and maybe I wanna move there. I mean, these are things I've heard from people who live in this town, that maybe they'd like to move to some of these locations. So I think at this point, we are so far ahead from where we were 4 years ago. The proof is in the pudding. The pudding's looking really good. Just the courthouse being painted on the top looks so beautiful. You know, these things are good signs.
So I will say this, and some of what Marcia is saying does have some validity too, because eventually you'll just run out of space anyway. And now where do we get, right? Even if you get Spice Factory and all those guys. So when you're looking at this redevelopment, I mean, there are some things that you have to reconsider. And I'm not trying to be political at all. Please don't even go there with me. Not you, but I can just hear somebody going, well, wait a minute. I'm just saying that if you're looking at the whole thing and saying people are gonna come here and you're going to do your inventory, you see that there's this many buildings coming in, is that gonna be enough to get us where we wanna be in terms of people coming in and having some number of restaurants and the diversion and things like that?
Robin told the
Or
subcommittee-
or just places to shop. I mean, you know what?
Robin told the subcommittee of, doing ordinances for the planning board flat out that we don't have enough places now for all these new people to go, and that we need more stuff. And in fact, George Malone told me that he spoke to you about Route 12 and was yowing to you about how I want retail on Route 12 and retail's dead. And you said to him, they need someplace to go, George. All these people need someplace to go and shop. So thank you for telling him that, because he told me that
Well,
last week.
we don't have, I don't know. None of us have a crystal ball. If Viva Mexico's building was more viable, earlier, like, we've had so many transitions. We had historic homes become retail, become service businesses, some came back to retail, some became private homes, like they're not really viable for the people of today who are wanting to open a restaurant. Like, we just don't have, they're not viable. We have a lot of people looking for activity space, rehearsal space, community theater. We don't really have that,
No, we need somebody to build it.
yeah, and that's why we should have a list of our assets, a marketing strategy, and an all-in approach to, we're all invested on having a viable space for the people of, for Flemington's future, or people who are here today. I got a call from a woman who bought a house on Main Street, and she wants to open a business, and she said, where can I get a kitchen where I could cook? And I'm not ready to open a restaurant, but I want to start producing. A commercial kitchen here would be so fantastic.
Really would be.
But
Because there's a lot of Latino people who are cooking outside in their homes.
That's right.
And selling out, but if they had a place to go to, then they can actually do, I agree with you on that. I really wish we could find more than even one of those. And like Platform One would be one of the perfect spots.
Yep. But I do think it, in addition to having a lot of tools in the toolbox, having everybody working together to, make sure that T-Berry's building becomes something fantastic and not a private home, not a lawyer's office, something active in retail. And then we would have two great, we'd have T-Berry's up here and another great food event.
It hasn't been a private home in probably 80 years. It's been a very long time before I was born. Like, it hasn't been a private home. It was offices.
Yeah,
It'd be a great B&B, actually.
it would. And we need B&Bs. We really do.
I'll offer my house.
Okay.
Willing to get out. No, I'm
So
kidding.
this is.
I'll start a room with people.
Great conversation.
And thanks for staying.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.
Really, I appreciate it too. Thanks so
So
much.
we'll work on these projects.
Yeah.
together. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last thing on the agenda is payment of bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $412,259.88. Have a motion? Is there a second?
Long was second.
Roll call.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bezzetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
Council President.
There's no executive session.
Yes.
Can I have a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Liz.
Good night.
Bye.
We didn't want to scare you.